In a world where everyone specializes in one class, Orhun Dura is an anomaly. He can cast magic, wield a blade, and buff his allies. But in the eyes of the hero party, being good at everything means you're a master of nothing. After being brutally fired by his best friend, Orhun decides to stop holding back. He's going solo to prove that a jack of all trades isn't just a support. He's a one-man army that can shatter the world's balance. Our story kicks off deep in a dungeon, where a bunch of rabbit-like monsters think they've found an easy snack. They lunge at our protagonist, but bam! They get slashed into oblivion before they can even land a hit. As they vanish, a shiny magic stone drops to the floor. But our MC is just getting started. More of these rabbit creeps show up, charging in pairs, but our MC just slices and dices through them like he's prepping a salad. More magic stones hit the ground, and honestly, it's looking like a light workout. Our MC takes a second to breathe, muttering to himself that he's not as out of shape as he thought. He was worried about getting rusty, but the muscle memory is clearly still there. He looks down at the pile of loot and thinks, yeah, I can definitely still make it as a swordsman. But just as he's feeling himself, the vibe shifts. 5 ugly, disgusting goblins crawl out of the shadows to ruin the moment. Instead of reaching for his blade first, our protagonist decides to switch things up. Let's try some support magic, he says. With a quick chant, he casts Strengthen on himself. And you just know things are about to get messy for these goblins. After buffing himself with that support magic, our MC breaks it down for us. Support magic isn't just for show. It cranks up the target's physical stats and can even reinforce their gear. The goblins, who are honestly just as ugly as they are persistent, decide to charge. Our guy just smiles. He points out that while most casters use these buffs for their party members, there's nothing stopping him from casting them on himself. He starts dropping goblins one by one. Easy peasy. It's the kind of high-tier attack and defense boost that every party dreams of having. But just when he thinks he's cleared the room, more of them crawl out of the woodwork. He's slicing through them faster than before, even catching one right in the back as it tries to make a run for it. But being an enhancer isn't all God mode. Our MC mentions the catch, the time limit. He's only got a 3-minute window to get the job done. As more goblins swarm in, he has to refresh the buff. He explains that support magic isn't permanent, and how long it lasts actually depends on the individual's magic resistance. In his case, he gets exactly 180 seconds, your standard 3 minutes, to wreck shop. He's a whirlwind of steel, taking them down one after another, while magic gems rain onto the floor like candy. But the real drama doesn't happen in the dungeon. Later that night, the vibe takes a nosebleed. His loyal party members pull him aside with some cold-blooded news. They're kicking him out of the party today. Orhun is standing there, completely stunned. He looks at the party leader, Oliver, and asks the question we're all thinking. Is this some kind of sick joke? I mean, come on. These two have been childhood friends for forever. They go way back. Orhun is trying to wrap his head around what he's hearing, but Oliver isn't laughing. Oliver drops the hammer and says that, honestly, he's already given Orhun way too many chances just because they're from the same village. Talk about a backstab bastard, right? He basically tells Orhun that from here on out, there's no way he can keep up with the rest of them. And of course, the rest of the party has to chime in. One of the party members, this loudmouth who just needs to stay in her lane, tells him to just get the hint and get lost already. Then, another guy, some blonde dude who clearly thinks he's main character material, adds insult to injury, claiming that Orhun is nothing but dead weight slowing the whole team down. Orhun is looking at them, totally blindsided. But Oliver doubles down, looking him right in the eye and telling him he's just not strong enough. And with that, they're officially kicking him out of the party. As the reality of the situation sinks in, Orhun starts having flashbacks to when they were younger. See, 8 years ago, Orhun and Oliver started this party together. They were the ultimate duo, climbing the ranks until they achieved that legendary S-Rank status in just a few short years. They were the golden boys of the adventuring world. They even made it all the way to the 94th floor of the Southern Great Dungeon, which is basically suicide for anyone else. That's when people started calling them the Hero Party. Back in the present, Orhun tries one last time to appeal to Oliver's logic. He looks at him and says, "Look, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not strong enough. But at this rate, none of us are." But Oliver isn't hearing it. He tells Orhun he clearly doesn't understand how crucial a high-level enhancer is. He brings up their last raid from a month ago, saying they saw an S-rank party with an enhancer that made Orhun look like an amateur. Orhun fires back, reminding him that he was supposed to be a swordsman. The only reason he converted to an enhancer and created his own original magic was because the party desperately needed a support role, and he was the only one with the talent for it. He literally changed his entire life path to carry these guys. But the blonde guy and the mage just tell him to shut up. They don't care about his sacrifice. And then Oliver drops the ultimate bombshell. He's already found a replacement. Orhun is absolutely floored. Oliver gives a half-baked apology, while the mage just stands there looking smug, saying, "This is just how it has to be." Orhun realizes there's no point in arguing with these clowns anymore. He's done. He gives them a simple, "Thanks for everything," and starts walking away into the night. But of course, that mage just has to get one last dig in. She calls out to him, saying that enhancer magic can be great, sure, but only once you hit rank A. Since Orhun is nowhere near that, she asks him if he knows what people call guys like him. A jack of all trades. Basically, her way of saying he's a master of nothing. But while they're talking trash, we flash back to Orhun in the dungeon. He's reflecting on his own growth. He's been combining his swordsmanship with his enhancer abilities to create a completely new combat style. He's not just a support anymore. He's an adaptable beast who can pull off moves no one else expects. He tells himself that he's going to master this style so well that nobody will ever call him a jack of all trades as an insult again. One day, he's going to be the adventurer who can do literally everything. A little while later, Orhun makes it to the teleportation crystal to register his progress. He's ready to wrap it up and start fresh from the 7th floor next time. But just as he's about to head out, a group of adventurers comes screaming toward the crystal, looking absolutely terrified. They are clearly running from something massive, but Orhun, he just glances at them and decides to ignore the drama. They're rambling on about being ambushed by orcs, and honestly, they sound pathetic. They're making every excuse in the book, claiming there was nothing they could have done. But it gets worse. The party leader admits that they actually abandoned a girl in their group just to save their own skins. He tries to justify it, saying that if they had stayed, the whole party would have been wiped out. He even has the audacity to say, "Hey, she just joined us today anyway, and I've got to prioritize my old friends." Orhun is standing on the sidelines, listening to this garbage, and he is not having it. He knows exactly how it feels to be thrown away by your teammates. He finally snaps and steps in, telling them he can't stand listening to their excuses. The party is stunned. They're like, "Who is this guy?" But Orhun doesn't care. He calls them out for leaving a girl to die while they stand around making excuses instead of going back to save her. One of the party members tries to get tough and talks back, saying they couldn't have saved her alone even if they stayed. He actually lunges at Orhun to throw a punch, but our MC is on a whole different level. Orhun just weaves out of the way like it's nothing and slams the guy into the ground. We cut to another part of the dungeon, and it's not looking good. A group of massive, terrifying orcs is closing in on a small girl. She's terrified, crying and begging them to stay away as she casts a protection barrier. But these orcs aren't playing. They raise their giant clubs and smash. The barrier shatters like glass. As the orcs loom over her, she screams out, praying for someone, anyone, to save her. Meanwhile, our protagonist reaches the girl just in time. He casts Arrow Shock, blasting the orcs back in a surge of mana. As he charges forward and the orcs rush to meet him, the girl is left dazed, wondering, who is he? Maybe he's a swordsman? But Orhun isn't done yet. He casts a strengthening spell on himself, overpowering the orcs and shoving them back with ease. The girl is absolutely floored. Seeing him switch from physical combat to support magic has her completely turned around. Is he a swordsman or is he a mage? She's confused, and honestly, the orcs look just as surprised as she is. Seizing the moment, our protagonist casts Sharpen on his blade. The fight reaches a fever pitch as Orhun begins slicing through the horde. The girl watches on, nervous but mesmerized by a fighting style unlike anything she's ever seen. With one final decisive charge, Orhun wipes out the remaining orcs in a single sweep. Relieved to be alive, the girl collapses to her knees, the gravity of the situation finally hitting her as she bursts into tears. Once they're safely outside the dungeon, Orhun turns to leave, but she calls out for him to wait. She wants to thank him properly and introduces herself as Sophia Claudel. Orhun takes a long look at her crest, realizing she belongs to a pretty prestigious clan. He realizes he hasn't even introduced himself yet. He offers a quick apology for the snub and finally gives her his name, Orhun. So Sophia, clearly feeling grateful and maybe a little impressed, asks Orhun if she can treat him to dinner as a proper thank you. Our boy Orhun gets totally flustered. Sophia leans in with those puppy dog eyes and practically begs him. And honestly, who could say no to that? He gives in and agrees to the date. A little later, they arrive at a dining spot. Sophia's humble about it, telling him, it's not the most expensive place, but the food is incredible. But Orhun is doing some mental math. He looks at her crest again and remembers, that's the night sky silver rabbit emblem. We're talking about one of the top-tier legendary guilds in the Kingdom of North Hantan. The Silver Rabbits aren't just big, they're one of the most famous and powerful clans in the entire realm. Just as they're getting settled at their table, a girl spots them and rushes over, calling Sophia sister. Orhun's eyes go wide. He recognizes her immediately. The sister takes one look at Orhun, smirks, and asks the question we were all thinking. So, Sophia, is this your boyfriend? Orhun and the sister lock eyes, and he realizes they've actually met before. He gives a casual, it's been a while, leaving Sophia completely stunned. She's looking back and forth between them like, wait, you two actually know each other? So, Orhun recognizes her immediately. This is Selma Claudel, the leader of the S-Rank party in the Silver Rabbits. We're talking about the most powerful enhancer on the entire continent. She's basically the woman who made the enhancer class famous. Orhun's mind is racing. He remembers seeing her party during a raid just last month. The same raid where Oliver pulled that shady move to get him kicked out of the hero's party. Selma is clearly protective though. She looks Orhun up and down and asks the burning question, are you seriously going after my 14-year-old sister? Our boy Orhun scrambles to clear the air. He explains it's not like that. He was just grabbing a thank you dinner with Sophia. Selma realizes she overreacted and snaps at Sophia. Is my sister not good enough for you? But Sophia jumps in to defend him, explaining that Orhun literally saved her life in the dungeon. Once the tension drops, Selma actually apologizes for being rude and thanks him for saving Sophia. But then, Sophia drops the bomb. She asks Selma how they know each other, and Selma reveals the truth. Orhun is a part of the legendary Heroes Party. Sophia is absolutely floored, but Orhun keeps it humble, reminding them he's not with the hero anymore. Selma is genuinely shocked he left such a prestigious group, and you can see the gears turning in her head. Orhun thinks she's about to try and recruit him to her clan, but he shuts it down immediately. I'm not looking to join any guilds right now, but Selma smirks. She's not trying to recruit him, she has a job for him. She wants Orhun to head out on a special teaching expedition starting tomorrow. So Selma is laying it all out. The training is exactly what it sounds like. It's designed to get the new recruits up to speed with some on-the-job experience, and she wants Orhun to tag along for the ride. She mentions that a group of A-rank adventurers, the heavy hitters, will be leading the rookies. The plan? They're spending 3 days diving down to floor 50 in the Southern Great Dungeon. Now, Orhun is a bit skeptical. He points out that 3 days is an insane pace. Even for veteran adventurers, a trip like that usually takes anywhere from 6 months to a full year. Orhun starts overthinking it. He worries that if these new recruits can't handle a floor boss on their own, they'll never survive the deeper levels. If they fail, it doesn't just hurt them, it threatens the reputation of the entire clan. But Selma isn't just talking to talk. She's realized from their brief conversation that Orhun is actually incredibly sharp. She explains the dungeon mechanics. You have to defeat a floor boss every 10 floors to progress. Even if a veteran carries the team through the fight, the rookies still have to register at the magic crystal on the next floor to move forward. That's exactly why she's so persistent about Orhun coming with them. In a moment of genuine sincerity, Selma grabs Orhun's hand and tells him how much she respects him. Of course, this completely flusters him. Then, her little sister Sophia jumps in, announcing that she's going too. She tells Orhun that having him there would make her so happy, hitting him with the classic puppy dog eyes plea. Orhun, turning beet red for the second time in 5 minutes, tries to play it cool. He says he'll think about it when she asks if he's busy. Orhun finally drops a bombshell on Selma. He's officially converted his class to a swordsman. Selma is stunned. Orhun's thinking to himself that she probably respected him more back when he was an enhancer, but he's committed to the blade now. Selma takes it in stride though. She figures if things go south, he can always just switch back to being an enhancer later. She tells him that if he decides to join, he should meet them at the Silver Rabbit HQ tomorrow morning. Later that night, Orhun heads to a local shop to meet an old friend. The shopkeeper is an old man just about to close up for the night. As they sit and talk, Orhun breaks the news that he's no longer a member of the hero party, meaning he won't be able to advertise for the shop anymore. The old man doesn't care about the fame though. He's just grateful to Orhun and tells him that no matter what, hero or not, he's got his back. He leaves Orhun with some heavy life advice. Just do what you think is best. Live for yourself, help others, and I'll always be on your side. The next day, Orhun actually shows up at the Silver Rabbit HQ. Selma greets him, noticing he looks way more lively than he did yesterday. She teases him, suggesting it's because he finally admitted he left the hero party. Orhun just shrugs it off with a something like that. If you enjoyed this recap and want to see how Orhun handles the chaos of the Southern Great Dungeon, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'm covering the rest of Breakers right here, so don't miss out on the next upload. Drop a comment below. Do you think Orhun should have stuck to being an enhancer, or are you hyped for his sword era? Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one.